Hey everybody, Justin here, and you're just in time to help save the youth's financial future. Just like Batman and Robin saved the day, just like Sam and Dean saved the world from the apocalypse. Let's get started. Today I'm going to talk about the powerful combination of time and compound interest. One thing I want you to focus on, no matter your age, is this. It is only too late to start investing if you wait for tomorrow and worry about not starting yesterday. If you focus on the present, you can accomplish outstanding things. Compound interest is a powerful tool. It's how our investments grow drastically over the years. This is our long-term investing strategy that I want to focus on. Here's a quick breakdown on how compound interest works. Let's say we take $100 and we invest it. That investment is going to give us an annual return of about 10%. So this isn't accounting for inflation, but that 10% growth is something that we can definitely work for in our actual investments. Your $100 after 1 year in that account, you're now going to have $110. Following year, and that investment, that $110 is going to grow by another $11. So you're going to have $121 in that account after 2 years. So that compound interest, the first year you gained $10, the next year you gained $11. Stack that year after year after year, combine that compound interest with youth, with starting investing early, we're gonna have great returns come into the future when we're ready to retire. So how do we estimate how much we should see in a year returning from our investment? That answer is pretty simple and pretty straightforward. We're gonna be focusing on long-term investing. Best data that we can pull is going to be the overall stock market performance over a 20-30 year span. So we can pull the information just like this. We can show how the S&P 500 has grown significantly and had stayed at a steady course over the past 30, 40, 50 years, which is great information. The year to year, it can be up in a year, it can be down in a year, but focusing on our long-term investment strategy, holding these positions for 20, 30, 40 years, we're gonna take the average. We're not gonna worry about the year to year, we're gonna worry about the overall average of that performance. Investing in a simple ETF or index fund that follows the S&P 500 or any other index that kind of matches what the stock market is performing, you can meet what that stock market averages, or you can even beat it in some cases with some funds. We're going to take that knowledge of the stock market history and we're going to apply that and trust it. There's so many people that think the stock market is gambling, that think you're just throwing your money in and wasting it, and there are definitely strategies that appease to those people that say that. When they hear about what's going on Wall Street bets, where some people they're YOLOing all their money on an out of the money option call and then they get burnt and lose their life savings, that's what people see the gambling side of this. But historically, how an average individual like you, like me, can develop true wealth is by investing in the stock market, putting our investments in, and watching that compound interest take flight for the years to come. When 30 years down the road, when you look at your investments, you're going to see how much has grown through compound interest. Investing in a long-term strategy with enough patience, you're going to see fantastic results. Just like I mentioned, start investing today. In a couple of years, look at those investments and see how much they've grown through compound interest. A real game changer when you see that investment gain 10%. Then another 10%, and just stack and stack and stack that on top of each other, and we're going to build true wealth that way. I want to show you how time can really take advantage of compound interest. We're going to max out a Roth IRA one time, and I'll show you at these different ages how compound interest will take over. At the age of 18, if we put $6,000 into that Roth IRA, and we're going to say it averages an 8% return, it's going to be compounding every year at 8%. By the time you're 59 and a half and able to pull out of that, you're going to have $141,000 in that account. That's right. That compound interest is going to take your $6,000 over the period of 41 years. It's going to grow it to $141,000. Now that is a powerful combination. Let's take the same exact situation, but we're gonna change that age to 25 years old. With a maxed out Roth IRA averaging 8%, that investment is gonna grow to about $82,000. Giving up that 7 years of compounding interest allocates for a difference in about $70,000, which is drastic. If you do this once at 35 years old, you're gonna have about $38,000. If you do this when you're 45, you're gonna have about $18,000. And then if you wait all the way till you're 55, you're only gonna have about $8,000. But here's something surprising. Let's bump those numbers up. Let's show you some big time, some big wealth numbers now. If we start at 18 and we max a Roth IRA out every year, taking into account an 8% annual return, that investment by the time you're 59 and a half and ready to retire is going to be worth $1.8 million. Let's say we start at 25 years old, right? So just 7 years later, and we max out our Roth IRA every year at 25, we're only going to have about $1.03 million. That's right. Over $700,000 difference by starting 7 years earlier. That really shows you the powerful relationship of time and compound interest. We need those to work together. If we're relying on compound interest, but we wait until we're old, we don't have enough time to take advantage of that. And if we're young and we don't take advantage of the compound interest by investing, we're gonna be set back and have to work that much harder later on. After seeing the powerful combination of time and compound interest, here's a great way to think about it in your everyday life. Imagine you had $1. What is the value of that $1? Take into consideration time and compound interest. That $1 at 18 is worth $23 at the age of 60. That's right. If you go to the dollar store and buy one thing, you're giving up $23 that you could have in the future. So every time you're going out and thinking about spending $1 here, $1 there, imagine giving up $20 here, $20 there. You're not going to go around handing out $20 bills, but we so easily nowadays go around handing out $1 bills and then a $5 bill here and a $5 bill there, which equals, you know, $100 and a $100 bill, right? So really take that into account. When you're young, don't rely on debt. Focus on what that $1 can mean and focus where you want to spend it. I encourage you and I encourage those out there, take that money and invest it for your future. Your future self is gonna thank you.
75 years later.
Hey, thanks guys.
I always got in the bad habit, especially in just day-to-day life, whether it's with chores or assignments. I would always say, well, that's a problem for future Justin. Well, you know what? Future Justin's here, and future Justin hates past Justin. And remember what I said? We're not worrying about the past. We're not looking for tomorrow. Focus on what your dollar can do for you today in the present, and build true wealth for the future. Let's get started and let's get going.